We continue our coverage of the Artemis II mission set for launch, if all goes well, at 6:24 p.m. Eastern from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Let's go back now to former astronaut and NASA Administrator Charles Bolden, who was there at Kennedy Space Center and who is watching with the jitters, of course, in this monumental time. And Charles, a lot of people will think, look, we've got so much going on at home. There is so much domestically, internationally. Why should I care about this? Why should our tax dollars be invested in this type of exploration? What do you say to those people?
Lindsay, the primary reason that people should be concerned and should be proud to be a part of this is because everything that we do and everything that this crew does on this flight is intended to bring something back to people here on the planet, to make life better here on the planet. We want to go to, for example, we want to go to Mars to find out, if life ever existed there, and if it did, what caused it to go extinct, if it's extinct. So every time we take a space flight, we're explorers. We come back with something that benefits humanity. I'm old enough to remember the riots in the street over Vietnam and civil rights at the same time that we were launching Apollo 11, and people in the Poor People's March came right here to the Kennedy Space Center, met with the NASA administrator and pleaded with him to stop the launch because they could use the money to feed poor people. And he gave them one explanation. He said, I would love to do that because I can empathize with what you're saying. But what we're going to learn and what we're going to do from this flight is going to bring back things that are going to make life better for them if we can just take advantage of it. And think about all that came out of Apollo. You talk about wireless communications, computers. It's endless what came out of the Apollo program, and a lot of it is unintentional and serendipitous. But that's what's going to come from the Artemis program and everything that NASA does.
And so as we see on the right-hand side of the screen, we're seeing the astronauts already in. They are, as you mentioned, lying on their backs because the rocket is still there on, and they're going through some of the controls as I'm watching what they're doing, and I want to know. I mean, the force, the propellant, the numbers are mind-boggling. I can't quite wrap my mind around all of them. But what does it feel like? How do they tolerate just that sheer velocity of going vertical when and if they do today?
Well, in the case of the three who have flown before, they know exactly what it's going to feel like to lift off. They don't know what it's going to feel like to launch with this kind of power and force, but they've been through that. Jeremy's been in the simulator enough times that he has an idea of what it's going to be like, but I don't think anybody's prepared the first time for the vibration, just the incredible vibration in the vehicle. There's not a lot of force when you lift off. It's a plain old, the F equals MA equation that every kid learns in school. It's a heavy vehicle and a lot of force that's pushing it into space, but it ends up with shuttle. It was about 1.5 Gs when we lifted off, which was less than some teenagers give their moms and dads in a car when they start off from a stop sign and floor it. So the acceleration is not the thing that gets your attention. It's the vibration on the vehicle. And that lasts until the solid rockets separate. And then it gets really smooth, like the biggest luxury vehicle you've ever been in on a highway that doesn't have a dip or a dent or anything in it. It's just smooth until you get to just about 45 seconds or a minute prior to the main engine cutoff on the vehicle itself. And then that's when the acceleration picks up again, because now you're a really light vehicle compared to the way you were when you launched, and you've still got a lot of thrust pushing you. So you got a lot of force, a little bit of mass, and the acceleration, which is the force you feel in your chest. In shuttle, it got up to about 3 Gs, but that was the most you felt. You didn't feel anything like that when you came home. Orion's a little bit different. So, different vehicles. One's a wing vehicle. This one's a capsule. So the crews that flew on shuttle before will notice a different kind of experience this time.
And so do you know who's in the front? Is it Reed Wiseman and Victor Glover?
Reed and Victor as the pilot and co-pilot, and I think they sit the same way we used to sit, but I don't know because I've not been in this vehicle. But normally the commander is on the left side, the pilot's on the right side, with the two mission specialists, seated right behind them, or in Orion, behind them. So that should be the configuration if I got it right.
And is it just as true, like in, making the band, that you're not just trying to find the right astronaut for that role, but you also want to make sure that you're finding the right people for the whole, to make sure that they all work well with each other, because they're going to be in cramped quarters for 9 days?
Lindsay, you got it absolutely right. Again, I keep going back to the old days. When I came in, you had one interview, you had 1 week in Houston at the Johnson Space Center competing to be selected. Nowadays, you go through one interview for a week, and if you make it through that, you come back for another week, and that's mostly psychological evaluation. There's a lot of time spent in psychological evaluation, team training when you get into the office. You go out in the wilderness and you do all kinds of stuff because it's a team sport. There is no room for individuals on a crew like this. And this is a short mission, 10 days. When you talk about going to the moon, and we're talking about, 10 days, when we're talking about going to Mars, and you're talking about almost 8 months to get there, and then 8 months coming back, round your mission up to about 3 years. You gotta know and like each other. It's not like just going out, where you say, okay, I can handle this for a week or two. It's a lot different. And they know each other. Their families know each other. They have come together as one big happy family. That's Reed's responsibility as the commander, is to figure out what's the dynamics of each crew member. How do I make sure that they work well together? And if they don't, how do I take them off in a corner and say, okay, look, we need a little bit more teamwork here, and the things like that. So Reed has the big responsibility as the commander of pulling the team together, helping the families come together and everything, because they're dependent on each other for this time that their loved ones are going to be away from the planet.
And as a dad of 2 girls, he's got experience in doing that. Charles Bolden, I cannot thank you enough for all of your expertise and just helping us really understand. You have made it so easily digestible, this intense science. Thank you so much.
Well, when you talk to people, tell them you coaxed me into talking about a diaper. I imagine some people who know me are wondering, what the hell is the former NASA administrator doing talking about diapers?
I might put it on my resume. We'll see. We'll see. Charles, thank you. Thank you. All ego aside, thank you.
Take care, Linda.